Welcome to the Board Game Snobs podcast. Critically harsh reviews with a touch of class.
Go.
You caught me off guard.
You said you were ready.
No, but I was reading. I was looking up a name.
What name?
Fabio.
He was quite the model back in the day.
Fabio Pano. It's the dude that was a designer that designed Merv, which we're not going to talk about this episode, right? We're going to talk about Merv next episode. Merv. Anyways, this is Jerry. This is the Board Game Snobs podcast. Thank you for listening. And
this is Gabi.
We're starting. I'm
also here. Thank you for listening.
I was about to end
Primary
this.
host.
I was about to end us.
And Enrique.
Hello.
Say something funny.
Like what?
Just tell us a story about yourself. Or anything that you've heard of.
Sadly, I do not have such things.
Well, think about deeply and then get back to us because we'd really like to hear from you more. For some reasons, your T-shirts have been selling like hotcakes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but we've merchandised you.
Excellent.
Yes, so there are sleeveless T-shirts at Sir Meeple. Is it sirmeeple.com?
Sirmeeple.com.
Yes, and by buying these T-shirts, we are donating this money, what little profits they are. What are we donating that money to?
Games.
And the laptop that's flaming. The flaming laptop that we utilize, and we're buying alcohol and games with it.
Alcohol. Yes.
And
alcohol first, because that really fuels everything else.
We are going to get a Kickstarter going. Not a Kickstarter. We don't do that.
Kickstarter. What can we get from 10 people?
What is in my drink? It's a gnat. A gnat has flown into my, what is this, Evan Williams? It has not changed the taste.
Don't drink it.
I'm going to drink the gnat. No, I got the gnat out, but I'm still going to drink this. Have you been drinking on this? I did not drink all... Okay.
A gnat fell out of Enrique's mustache into your drink. That's what it was.
Oh, thanks.
Nat King Cole. As for other things that have been going on, Gabi, I was going to ask you this. I'm sorry for the hot take. Do we need to turn the air conditioner off? Is that noise? Turn that fan off. That's going to be a noisy thing, isn't it?
No, I can't hear that.
You can't hear that. Okay.
Why is this not loading? Go ahead.
This is a hot take, and I'm sorry. I should ask you about this later because this is sensitive. So
we've already done enough hot takes.
I've got several hot takes. This is one about you.
Me?
Yes. So our listeners might not know, but Sade Page is moving out.
Oh, yeah.
She's got an apartment. It's finally time for her to fly the coop. She's like, what, 32? How old is she?
I think 20s.
She's 24.
24. So Shard is finally going to go do something with herself. How does that make you feel?
I'm very sad. Very, very sad. She was packing up her room, and as I looked at her room, her bare walls, I got sadder and sadder as I saw things coming down. And I was like, this is what it feels like to have your kid move out.
Yeah, she doesn't love you enough to stay with you anymore. She's moving out.
What's wrong with you?
Yes, she's moving out.
I've laid on all the guilt trips that you're supposed to do.
What have you done so far?
It's like, why? Do you not love me? Why would you move out?
Ask her if she's going to
do you not enjoy, helping out and split? Oh, you want to pay full price for rent?
Ask her if she's going to put you in a nursing home. That's always a...
No.
Yeah, basically, that's how you monetize how much time she wants to spend with you. She's willing to pay rent not to be around you. Is my time not worth? And then you have the actual
Well,
amount.
see, here's the deal. She's had several friends, move away.
Quote-unquote friends.
Quote-unquote friends move away. And then, one moved to freaking New York, one's moved to Dallas, and now she's like...
She's moving...
Well, she had plans previously. She actually, I'm happy, because she was going to move to Miami.
Oklahoma?
Miami, Oklahoma. And I was like, why there? She's like, she likes the open plains.
You mean Florida.
Miami, Florida.
So now...
And I was like, I hope you have a thong, because that's what you have to wear in Miami, right?
Instead, she's just moving down the street by Chick-fil-A.
Just like two blocks away.
By Chick-fil-A.
Pretty close, yes.
Okay, so that's basically it. So I'm sorry if there's that change in your life. That's a sad thing.
It is. It's very upsetting because I'm used to just she's like, she's like, you're always playing games or podcasting or watching TV. I was like, I know, but I just enjoy your presence in the house.
I have a suggestion.
What's that?
Let Enrique move in with you.
That'd be a terrible idea. That's a terrible idea.
I don't think that would get past my wife
No,
for some
you've
reason.
got an open room.
No.
Enrique needs to be independent.
No.
Oh, that's not independent.
That's not
You're
independent.
moving away from your parents and you're moving down.
Enrique, you need to talk into the microphone.
Oh, sorry.
See,
He
how are you gonna-
has yet to master talking to the microphone.
How are you going to move out when you won't even talk into the
Point it.
microphone?
Like, here we go. I know I've said this
Like
several
so?
times before. There you go.
It's just like my nose just like
Well, I know that. Okay, so that's I've tried to demonstrate this for at least 10 other podcasts.
yes.
If you're trying
4 to 5.
if you're about to start a podcast, listen closely because Gabi yells at us every single podcast about this.
Point the microphone within about 3 to 4 inches from your mouth, but at a 45-degree angle. Therefore, your nasal breathing and breathing anytime you breathe out, if you're a mouth breather, it doesn't go directly into the microphone.
Right. So if you're a mouth breather and you happen to be on the podcast, Frankie, please go ahead and.
Oh
Wow! I'm sorry.
fired.
I've got names of people I'm going to make fun of. So let's check off Frankie. That's of the Super Board Sunday podcast that I don't listen to, but I hear it's still going on. If you want to listen to poor opinions about board games,
hey, I've been meaning to ask: are we still part of the Gateway Network?
we are.
Because we never talk about it anymore.
I don't really care, but the fact is that we.
That's the whole point.
I know, like we have done our best to prop them up. We've propped them up as much as we can. I'm hoping that we've helped them out to some degree. I'm participating in everything that has to do with the Gateway Network. I've drank the Kool-Aid.
I saw you painting minis.
I'm painting minis. I'm painting my heart out.
How's that working out? You ain't won a dang thing for the board game snobs.
They've got a ringer in there.
That's true.
They got some ringer who's. I want
Ben.
drug test.
Ben date night
I
dice.
want him drug
He's taking
test.
steroids when he
He's-
starts painting.
That's what it is. He's
What
got
kind of steroids would they give you for painting?
Adderall.
Adderall.
Adderall's not a steroid, but it's close enough.
Helps you focus?
It does. I take Adderall. It doesn't help me any.
Take more. And if something doesn't work, my suggestion is take more.
Your heart will explode.
Cocaine? Is it working?
Oh,
Take more.
Take more.
Sniff a little bit more up.
That's not how that works. That's
Okay,
just
so
not
how about
medical advice?
Can you take cocaine rectally? You know, everything else works quicker through the
You
rectum.
can do pretty much anything rectally.
Anal intubations.
Alcohol.
Anal intubations.
Actually, like it's like a thing to not just use your nasal passages. There's a lot of medications now that they use in forms of a spray.
Through your nose.
Yeah,
I
but-
heard they're working on a COVID spray through the nose.
Why would you want to shoot COVID up your nose?
Yeah, that's really weird.
Vaccination.
I'm a medical professional. That's made sense.
Anal intubation.
So, do you have banter that you want to cover, or do you want me to?
Oh, we're not bantering now? What is this?
This is my banter. I figured you had something.
I can't. I'm not bantering with you.
I know,
This
but
doesn't count.
no, but you always have this weird crap. I just like to get out of the way.
Oh, no, we don't have to.
No, I want to.
I got fired from the calendar factory the other day
Fire from the calendar factory.
just for taking a day off. That's okay.
I'm fine with that.
What are Windmill's favorite genre of music? They're big metal fans. Enrique liked that one. He liked that one. My ceiling isn't the best, but it's up there.
What happens when you cross an elephant and a rhinoceros?
Elefino.
See, I want to know. See, I can literally come up with any dad joke, and you would have it.
I went to a new mechanic. They came highly recommended.
This is not banter. This is not banter. This is stupid jokes.
No,
this is not banter. I want banter.
I didn't say.
You said banter, not that you're going.
I didn't say banter. You said banter. Have you ever heard of lambanog?
You say
I'm asking you a question right now. Have you ever heard of lambanog?
that's that Italian car?
It's a tradition. It's a Lamborghini.
Oh, whatever.
Traditional Filipino distilled palm liquor made from coconut or nipa palm sap.
Nipple palm sap.
Nipple palm sap.
That's a great band.
Welcome, Nipple palm sap, opening for Snake Rectum. What kind of music does Nipple palm sap sing?
They're Peruvian pan flute band. They are.
Oh, they open for Zamfir then.
Yes.
Zamfir, where's he been?
I don't know.
Hold on, I gotta look up Zamfir. Zamfir net worth, what do you say? Like 2 people are gonna know Zamfir.
For me, if you know Vance, send me or send us Email boardgamesnobs@gmail.com.
Oh, Zamfir. Oh, 1 to 5 million.
That's a broad spectrum.
That's not bad, though, for a guy that played the pan flute 20 years ago.
But hey, rock out, man. Pan flutes.
I mean, he sold albums of pan flute music.
All the elevator people bought it. It's like, this will be great.
Oh, anyway, so I had heard about this. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Enrique was choking on something.
You okay, big guy?
No, I'm fine.
What were you choking on?
Just nothing.
Nothing.
You
Continue the banter, man.
You literally cannot.
So if you do the Heimlich, what's going to come out?
I hate to tell you, you cannot choke on nothing.
He's expelling
There
air.
is something to choke on. Your air is thick for a reason. You have mucus or something. You really need to mucinex that. Take care of your body.
Lambanog originates from Luzon Island in the northern Philippines. It's commonly described as coconut vodka. 80 to 90 proof. Anyway, I saw this mentioned somewhere, and I was interested in having some lambanog.
Do we have listeners in the Philippines that can send you some lambanog?
We were number one in the Philippines.
Philippines?
Philippines?
What happened?
The Philistines.
Philippines? You sound like you're
I've had some lambanog. Is them?
Missy Elliott. Philippines. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I know Missy Elliott.
You know Missy Elliott? Do you?
Yes.
Can you flop down, flip it, and reverse it? I can't
can.
remember any of her music. Why is Missy Elliott popular ever?
Hey, I liked Missy
I
stuff.
didn't like Missy at all.
You don't like anything.
I do love stuff. But
What?
I love a lot of things.
Name something you love.
Enrique.
Everyone loves
You're pandering.
I'm not pandering.
You're pandering because he's right there.
No, I'd say that whether he's here or not. I like Matthew McConaughey.
Besides that,
I like Matthew McConaughey a lot.
okay.
He's got that.
What's your favorite movie of Matthew McConaughey?
Well, I like that Lincoln Lawyer. That Lincoln Lawyer is pretty good.
Never seen it.
I would see that I can't hardly do a good Matthew McConaughey impersonation because his voice comes from the back of his throat. It comes from right up here, and then you have to do this thing where you kind of like part of your mouth got to be open just a little bit. You got to kind of like whisper. You got to let that wind come out through your teeth, just like that. You got to talk about armadillos and barbecue, that type of thing.
Lincoln Cars.
Yeah. That he was the Lincoln Lawyer,
I know. And then he went on to make commercials for Lincoln.
and that was a great crossover. I don't know why
And
he didn't
steaks.
do it sooner.
And he wants to run for governor of Texas.
Let him do whatever. He's got it.
Who do y'all have for governor in Oklahoma?
knows?
Stitt.
Who?
Governor Stitt. He
Stitt?
is a business.
Governor Stitt?
Stitt, yes. He's a businessman, and he ran for governor, and he was not a politician type, and he won. And he's Governor Stitt.
Never heard of him.
Well, of course not. You're not from Oklahoma.
I'm not from Oklahoma. I am from Oklahoma. I just don't live there presently.
We don't recognize you as Oklahoman, though.
I am from Oklahoma.
You live there.
Was raised in Oklahoma.
But you're not born there. Your experience is not one of an Okie. You're such a Texan.
When you say you're from somewhere, is it from where you're born or where you spent most of your life or where you're presently?
I think it's really what values you encompass, and it's obvious that you're a Texan.
Because as I've often said, I was born in Arkansas.
You're large and excessive.
I was raised in Oklahoma for most of my life. Although, good Lord. That's incorrect these days because I forget I'm 44 and I've been married for 20-something years.
So you're officially a Texan.
I've been in Texas longer than I was Oklahoma.
You're a Texan.
I was in Oklahoma for 18 years.
No true Oklahoman could stand to be in Texas this long.
Why?
Because Texans have.
You know what? They're just lines on a map. They don't mean anything.
No, it's the people, though.
Just
you tell that to a Texan.
Just lines on a
You
map.
will never meet anybody more in the South.
One love. One line.
Never meet anybody more in the South that is more
together and feel all right. See, I'm all about peace and love.
No, you'll never.
Lines on a map is what divides us.
You'll never meet anybody more
Map
pompous
makers.
in the South than Texans. Absolutely.
I'm not pompous.
I pass. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm getting away from this subject before I start ranting about how you can't drive. I say you. I mean Texans.
I'm a professional driver.
I know.
That's what all Texans say, though.
Oh, you think that's funny?
Oh, is Paul Walker Texan? Where's he from?
Paul Walker?
Yeah.
I think he's a California dude. Now, the guy that took his place in Tokyo Drift, I think he's from Texas.
Who took his place in Tokyo Drift? The guy, that guy.
Yeah.
The guy with
Tokyo Drift, the country dude.
the discount. He's got that. It's real Southern, like he's Louisianan.
He was in Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, he was also in NCIS New Orleans.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I watched an episode of that the other day. That was
Is that Scott Bakula?
awful. Scott Bakula has gone to a new low. Like, I understood his heyday back in the 80s, and then he was on the Enterprise there for a little bit. That's fine. But he has gone downhill. He
was on A Enterprise.
I said A Enterprise.
You said the.
Well, it was the original.
I don't acknowledge it. NX-01, not in my book.
It was the original Enterprise.
I don't acknowledge the NX-01.
Well, you don't have to. You can't retcon it.
I just did.
You don't have the authority.
The first Klingons were found in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, not far from your home.
Go ahead, Mr. Gene Roddenberry. Just go ahead and tell us what you acknowledge and you don't.
I don't. I do not. The Enterprise, don't give the Star Trek Enterprise. Bad show.
It had potential, but it
had. I like some of the characters. I like the engineer dude that they killed off at the end of the show.
Spoilers.
I like Scott Bakula. I liked the engineer dude. I like the linguist lady.
Okay, I'll come out and say it. I don't like Scott Bakula. Quantum Leap, it was all right. I don't like Scott Bakula.
He seems so earnest. You didn't like him in The Replacements?
No.
Was that the one? No. Was that the one?
He was in he was
another football one. The Replacements is
that's Keanu Reeves. And I love Keanu Reeves. Unfortunately, there was a John Wick marathon that was nothing but they played John Wick 1, John Wick 2, John Wick 1, John Wick 2 all day long until it premiered of John Wick 3 on the weekend that I was working at the fire department. So guess what?
You watched it.
No, the entirety of the fire department watched John Wick 1 like 3 times, John Wick 2 like 3 times, and then culminated in rewatching John Wick 3 multiple times. I am so tired of Keanu Reeves.
Necessary Roughness.
Yes, Necessary Roughness.
With Sinbad. Whatever happened to Sinbad?
He's doing great.
He's selling the 7 Seas.
No, he's got his money. He's done.
Does Sinbad have his money?
Net worth. Sinbad has got his money.
I bet Sinbad is a $5 million or below.
No, Sinbad's 20 mil easy.
Sinbad's
20 million. 20 million.
Sinbad $5 million.
Oh.
What's he been in?
What has he been doing?
He ain't done nothing since the 90s.
He should have invested, Sinbad.
I liked him back in the day.
Everybody likes Sinbad.
He was the one talking about, I think he's the one that, like, the first time I heard that joke about, like, I don't have to outrun the bear, I just, like, have to outrun you.
Yeah.
Like tripping your best friend.
Well, Sinbad was like...
He's like one of the first clean comics I remember that you apparently hate because you hate Jim Gaffigan.
No, I don't hate Brian Regan. I hate Brian Regan. Why
do you hate? Hate's a strong word.
Well, it's because people need to understand what...
Hate in the biblical sense can mean love less.
Okay, well, I love him less. I love less Brian Regan. I like Gaffigan. He's okay. And Sinbad was all right. He had a special I remember watching. He's all right. Nothing wrong with Sinbad.
Gaffigan has based his comic on food.
There's nothing wrong with Hot Pockets.
It's good. Hot Pockets are great.
Nothing wrong with Hot Pockets. I want to talk about...
Enrique, what have you been up to?
He's been eating Hot Pockets.
Oh, well, now that you say such things, I tried to save a kitten a couple of weeks ago.
You saved a kitten? Oh, wait.
He said he tried to.
I'm getting scared at the end of the story.
Let him tell the story. Go ahead, Enrique.
So basically, me and my father got done working at the schools in Boswell. We're coming home. We're getting out of the van and everything. I hear something in the back just crying, just like a bawling, right?
In the back of your van?
No, in the back of the yard at my house.
Gotcha.
Oh.
So I'm like going up there, and all I see is my mother with this like hatchet thing digging under.
What? She tried to kill the cat?
She's digging under the shed.
Digging under the shed, and it was raining in the Hugo area.
Our listeners are well aware of the southeastern Oklahoma torrential rains we've been having the past 2 weeks. Yes.
Yeah, I should probably said that first. It was raining a lot in Hugo a couple of weeks ago, like hard, very hard.
This story doesn't end in the kitten dying, does it?
It does not.
Okay. Otherwise, I have to end it right now.
Yes, but no, it doesn't.
I'm just getting scared. So you're digging this cat out that's collapsed underneath your shed.
So basically, the cat is under the shed, and there's a bunch of water seeping through under the shed. Under the
He's
shed.
dead now. The guy who
I
was
know,
he's
Sebastian.
dead. Sebastian's dead. R.I.P.
All I see is my mother just bawling, crying, just said, "I killed the cat because I couldn't get him out."
There's no need to do impersonations on this podcast.
It's fun.
Did you stick your dainty hands underneath the shed?
I didn't know where the cat was, and there was a lot of water under the shed. So I look at Dad, I look at my father, and say, "Dad, we're cutting a hole in the shed. We're going to just put a big hole in the shed."
Okay, and how did you do? Did you punch a hole into the floor?
Yes.
How?
Well,
with your hands.
Well, not with my hands, with a saw, obviously.
You had a saw. Okay, so you cut a hole in the floor and found the cat.
Well, we didn't find the cat. As soon as we got done cutting the hole in the shed, my mother apparently sees the cat that we're trying to save in the little doghouse that's outside, and he's just like, they're just all scared. It's like, "You little punk, we thought you drowned."
So you cut a hole in a So let me get this straight. You basically thought there was a cat under your shed. You cut a hole under your shed, and the cat's not under there.
How I assume what happened is that when the cat heard that saw, like, just buzzing through the shed.
Stop that. I don't be making cat noise. Turn that off. Cat sounds are depressing. Cats are.
Oh, baby, I'm here to save you.
But
The cat doesn't need your help. A cat's a predator.
Yeah.
Cats don't need help.
But there was a lot under there, though. It's on my phone.
Cats don't need any help. They're predators.
But it was super emotional and super stressful. And
So what happened to the cat?
He got out. Well,
Yeah,
if you'd pay more attention,
I was
to the
searching
actual
kitten sounds.
All right. Yes, the cat got out. The big build up.
Did he go to the cradle?
No, he went back to the doghouse. The fact that we had to
Doghouse?
listen to this long story about a cat, that it culminated in absolutely nothing. This is why you preference your stories with this is either interesting or dynamic or something.
It was just words. Words about a cat. May I convey some words about a cat?
Yes, please let me tell you this story that has no meaning, no excitement, and ends exactly how you'll think it would be. You know what, Enrique? You're the M. Night Shyamalan of this podcast.
And the twist is, nothing happened.
And the twist is that we went to pull the cat out.
What was the only movie of his I'd never watched was The Lady in the Water.
With my man
And Paul Giamatti.
Yes.
What's the twist on that one?
The twist is that this guy
That it sucked?
who works out with just one arm, he just does arm curls with one arm, like he just has a weight that he sits there. So his one arm is huge, and he does this purposely.
Are you being serious or are you joking?
Dead serious.
Because I've never seen it. Okay.
I'm dead serious. He is the guardian, and he is whom the rabid, vengeful alien / spirit dog that's out hunting the lady in the water. He's the one that it's afraid of. That's the twist.
Okay, I'll have to watch the movie for that to make any sense.
And I guarantee you, if you watch it, it still won't. I was so excited to watch M. Night Shyamalan, to watch The Lady in the Water. And when I went and watched it, I was completely blown away by the fact that, one, the style of it, the presentation of it's very interesting. And you just keep thinking, oh, this is going to get interesting. And it never does. It never really makes any sense.
He's coming out with a new movie, Old.
I've seen the trailer for that.
It's very interesting.
I really think I told you my theory on it. But
No, I told you my theory. Don't take that.
I told you my theory.
No, I said it's just going to be an episode of Punked.
No, I said that's how it ends.
No,
Ashton
that's what I'm
Kutcher
saying.
comes by.
And don't think I didn't see you post that somewhere else.
I've been posting that
you
all over the
stole
place.
my joke.
I didn't steal your
you
joke.
You did too.
I did not. How dare you? I am not the Carlos Mencia of this podcast.
You are so.
No, I didn't steal your joke.
So he had Wide Awake. Never heard of that.
Ooh, I've never heard of it.
It's his first movie, apparently. 1998. Then The Sixth Sense. He came out swinging. Budget $40 million. Box office $673. Good Lord. Unbreakable.
Nice.
Budget $75. Box office $248. So a severe drop off.
That's still really good, though.
But then Signs comes back swinging. Budget 72, box office 408 million.
Yeah, Signs is great. Joaquin.
Then The Village was
Loved it.
another moderate success.
Loved Village.
Here's where Lady in the Water. Budget 70 million. Box office 73 million.
After he did that, he did The Happening.
The Happening was next.
Where Mark Wahlberg, forgot to act.
And fighting tree pollen, apparently.
That happens. That's the twist, is every spring, and they didn't realize that the twist was this Clarendon.
Flonase! Flonase to the rescue. Oh my God. Last Airbender. Oh my God. Now that I'm watching the cartoon, the animation, that's a travesty of a movie. A travesty. It was bad before.
What was?
The Last Airbender.
Oh, I've never watched it.
Nor should you. It's absolutely atrocious. Terrible acting. The main dude is it's awful. After Earth, Will Smith.
I didn't know he did that.
That's Midnight. Will and Jaden.
Wow.
I've never seen that all the way through. I stopped watching it.
Wow. I need to watch that just to see how bad it truly is.
Now, this is where he kind of made his rebound. The Visit.
I don't remember that.
It's where the two kids go to stay with their grandparents or something.
Oh, yeah. I remember
it was
that one.
Weirdly creepy, but really wasn't. In spoiler alert. Right?
Yeah. I remember that one.
And then Split. That's where he hit it big again. But then he lost it at Glass. Glass was atrocious.
I love Split. I have not watched Glass.
Glass was atrocious.
Y'all told me it was atrocious, and that killed me, and I won't watch it.
But Glass still was a big hit because it. So he went from 100. Okay, so his biggest budget movie was 150 million with Airbender, universally panned. Then he goes to Split for 9 million. Made 279, then Glass. So Glass was still a hit, but I'm anxious to see Old. And he's also got a show on Apple Plus now, but I'd like to see Old unless it's something super freaky.
Well, I don't know. Everything he does is super freaky. Anyway, speaking of super freaky, if you're the type that wants to get super freaky, I can think of nothing better than playing a roll and write.
Let me guess, you hate them.
Absolutely. I think they are an abomination upon all that is board gaming.
So you hate dice placement.
Hate dice placement.
You hate deck building.
Deck building, hate it.
You hate rolling rights.
Drafting, rolling rights.
You hate drafting.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot.
So what mechanisms left? Negotiation and worker placement.
Yeah, area control.
Area control, okay.
I like area control.
But let me guess, you're fixing to talk about a rolling right that you like.
Actually, I am a little
An
bit.
exception to the rule.
There's an
Shocker.
exception to the rule. Which really,
on par for Jerry.
Really, that's really what I'm about, exceptions to rules, because I am an exception to the rule. So let me tell you a brief story. There's a man who is a doctor, Dr. Steve Finn. I don't think he's a medical doctor. I think he's a doctor of psychology.
What's up, Doc?
Do you find it interesting? Okay, so this was a debate that came up months back about.
Do I find it interesting? Never seen it.
When people who are doctors of certain things are referred to as doctor, doesn't it make you think they're? If I say I'm a doctor, you're assuming.
I generally think medical doctor,
right?
But that means they can have a PhD in science,
right? So when someone says
arts,
when someone says I'm a doctor, I never, ever, and I'm
always and never. Got you.
I'm in the medical field. So when someone says I'm a doctor, I never go I never think that they're a medical doctor. I ask them what type of doctor. I assume you have a doctorate in something,
right?
It's I want to know. So when people say, "Oh, you're a doctor," are you you're a medical doctor? No. I just assume you have a PhD in something. Anyways, it's just a thing.
Is a PhD the right term?
Yes, a FUD.
Or a
doctorate.
Is it a doctorate in something? What does PhD stand for?
You're a professor of high doctorates, I think. I don't know. It stands for something. I forget.
I thought PhD was in the medical field, but I couldn't.
No, PhD is not in the medical field.
So it's just you have a PhD in something.
Wait a minute. PhD, whatever. And the thing is that you
Enrique, look it up.
Either a medical doctor. Yes,
he's our producer.
Let's rely on Enrique.
He's always rely on Enrique.
Looking up. What is a PhD?
Get off of iFunny. Okay.
What are you looking at?
What do you got?
He's looking very shockingly at his phone.
At first he was going to say something, then he quickly recanted. He's looking confused.
A doctor of philosophy?
A doctor of philosophy, a PhD, is the most common degree in the highest academic level award following a course of study. So you're a doctor of philosophy.
Whoa, what?
What if you're a PhD?
The philosophy of medical?
Yeah.
Medications?
I'm a philosopher. I have a PhD in board games. I'm a doctor of the philosophy of board games. Anyways, Dr. Steve Finn, I sent him an email and said, hey, I seen that you have a new game out called Biblios Quill and Parchment. Your previous game, Biblios, I absolutely loved. And he sent me a copy of Biblios Quill and Parchment. I opened it up, and you know what? In the title, Quill and Parchment, that should give you an idea that it's kind of like roll and write, because a quill and a parchment. So this is basically the different take on Biblios, which certain members of the Board Game Barrage think that's like the greatest game ever. Mark does. Is that the one I like? Which one do I like? Mark or Nealon?
I don't know which one you quote unquote like or don't like.
Nealon,
Kellen, Mark.
One of those I really like. I can't remember who it is.
Well, to be determined.
It's either Mark or Nealon. Well, I don't know. If I figure it out, I'll let you know. But one of those dudes really likes Biblios.
It's Mark.
One of those guys really likes Biblios, the original Biblios, which I think is one of the best games ever made.
I've played it one time. You brought it over. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It kind of the mechanism, or kind of me reminded of For Sale. Like it started off with one direction, and then you not Harry Styles. Then it went another direction.
Is that who Harry Styles is?
He was One Direction.
I was going to ask you who he was.
He was in One Direction. Now he's on his own and just doing his own. He went Justin Timberlake on One Direction.
Is he the talent behind?
He's the talented one.
Okay.
Others have tried. Zane, I believe, was one of the other guys. Had mild success.
So that's what Enrique.
When I say mild success, I mean,
that's what
multi-millionaire.
That's what Enrique's going to do. He's going to leave us one of these days. Like he's never listened to this podcast. He's just going to bust out.
He's the Harry Styles of the board game snobs.
You are Harry, and you have no style.
He's Harry with an eye.
He's not even paying attention.
He doesn't. But he's literally in his phone.
No, sorry. No, I'm sorry.
What are you
the PhD and doctorate?
He is still on the PhD.
It's still getting me.
Oh, why?
Well, I think the doctorate degree is mainly the field of medicine, while the PhD is a field of philosophy, mainly original ideas from what the person themselves has accumulated, and people agree with this type of philosophy.
We have so many educated people who listen to this podcast. Denva, she's a professor in Harvard. Why don't people just write in and correct us? boardgamesnobs@gmail.com. Anyways, Biblios, the original Biblios. If you've not played it, as Gabi was describing it as like a for sale game, it is this wonderful game where you are simply trying to build a set or a collection of books. You are monks taking care of a library, and on your turn, you draw up a certain amount of cards.
You're amongst the library?
Yeah.
Just amongst it.
Yeah. You draw up several cards that generally plus one, however many players. You keep one, you give one to each of the other players, and you put one out into the pile. Everybody does this, and you are basically collecting up a certain amount of cards that have these books on them that are worth a certain amount of points, or you're collecting cards that have money on them. And then after that phase of the game is over, you then go to bidding, and you bid with the money that you have thus collected on other cards that you threw away at the beginning of the game. And at the end of the game, you figure out who has the most. So anyways.
What? No way, you said the most.
Well, you keep interrupting me every 5 minutes. I can't remember what I'm talking about. You keep interrupting me. Stop interrupting me. Biblios.
Don't you holler at me.
The thing is about Biblios, I think it's one of the greatest entry-level, light, bidding kind of
what does Biblios even mean?
Drafting. It has to do with bibliographies. It has to do with
books.
Books, yeah. Like little books.
Little books.
Anyways, so
tiny books.
Biblios is an awesome game. If you've not heard of it, and if you can find it, please pick it up. Biblios Quill and Parchment is a roll and write kind of different take on it, where you have each player has their own little board that you're writing stuff on.
Little boards, little books.
And you're
how's everything little?
I guess it's what it's meant to be. It's kind of like this whole
shrunken down.
Well, it's something manageable. Like and on your turn, you're rolling dice, kind of Yahtzee style, and you're utilizing these dice as either set collection for building up the books in your library, sending your little novice out to do good.
Little novice, he's little
he's
too.
A little novice. That's what they call him. You're a little novice around town doing good deeds, but you're also utilizing these influence dice to collect influence, and that's just the first stage of the game. So you're just marking this all down on your player board. And then the second stage of the game, you switch and you bid utilizing the influence that you stored on the first part of the game. And you then start bidding on dice. And you bid on those dice that have already been rolled and get to do the actions on them. So the game kind of shifts to these two different phases, just like in the original Biblios, where first one, you're kind of managing your hand and giving other people cards, and then second phase, you're bidding. This is kind of similar. First round is kind of like a roll and write. Second round, there's some bidding to it. Like I said, this was really quick. Very interesting how the board is your own player board set up to help you with scoring where everything goes. It's obviously designed very well. The components are really nice.
Well, those dice are very, very nice.
They're like
they're wooden, but the design on them is very nice.
Yes, everything about this game has some very nice artwork.
Very nice. Very nice.
It's yeah,
classic.
Classy. It's very classy, Dr. Finn. Classy Finn, medical man.
Dr.
Finn, medical man.
Yes, this is. We have played several roll and writes. I have played Castles of Burgundy. I don't think Jerry's played that one. Cartographers, the Imperial Settlers one. It was fine. We played Welcome to. Biblios. We've played a couple of different more, but I don't remember what they are off the top of my head because they weren't worth remembering. I enjoy Castles of Burgundy. It has a decent solo in it, and parts of it remind me of this one where you're, of course, the rolling rights. You're marking boxes to score points. I was thinking about that. A lot of rolling rights. You roll dice, you pick a thing, you mark it off, and you hope to mark off more of that thing to reach points. That just seems like a very steady thing in rolling rights.
Yeah, it's like
you're just running up this particular. I hope I roll this particular thing because I've already marked off one. I hope I roll another one to mark off the next one to reach a set of points. That seems mundane, but the way this game presents you all these different options, and then the way it scores those different, especially those dice at the end. I don't know how you describe those dice at the end where you get the 2 times or 3 times.
Yeah, so like what happens is in the original Biblios, the sets of books, the different colors of books are scored by these dice, and the dice just shows how many pips on them, how many victory points those are worth. In this game, in Quill and Parchment, the same mechanic is utilized where you're able to manipulate these dice up and down so that you're adding value or taking away value from certain sets of books. And so at the end of the game, the multiplier is whoever has the most green books, whatever they're worth, if they're worth 1 victory point up to 6 victory points, whoever has the most, they get those victory points times 3. The second person gets that times 2. The third just gets...
And those can be altered and adjusted.
Which was the big strategy in the original Biblios, where there were cards that you could kind of mess with the other players' victory points. You could see that they're collecting a certain type of book, and you can drive down the worth of them. Same thing in this game. I went the route of having a lot of influence, so I was always able to bid on the dice and get exactly what I wanted, and I completely manipulated the board so that my books were...
You really screwed me on those greens.
Yes. And then in the end, Enrique ended up...
Y'all tied. Enrique won. I came in close with 4 points behind. It's a very tight game, even though we literally all chose different strategies. That's what I liked about this roll and write. It has a variety of strategies. You can travel that dude on the map. You can go up particular tracks and hope you get those bonus points. You're like holding your thumbs up. I didn't know what you were doing.
I'm giving you the thumbs up.
Okay.
I'm like, I didn't want to interrupt you and say I agree with you. I just gave you a thumbs up.
You confused me.
Well, I'm trying.
I'm confused with a silent thumbs up.
I'm trying not to interrupt you. I know that's a novel thing for you to understand because you don't know how to shut up when other people are talking.
Because you never shut up, or else I don't get a break.
You have nothing to contribute.
Wow, you didn't have to go there.
I went there.
I'm going to sit here and sulk now.
Okay, sit there and sulk. Quill and Parchment. I liked it. Enrique?
I loved it.
Gabi?
He's sulking.
He's sulking. He has nothing to contribute. He's calling the sulk. He's turning up the salt.
Because you had to put salt on the wound.
The incredible sulk.
There's a good idea. Well, you'll hate to see me sad.
You don't want to see me upset.
It's a great.
What will you do? Nothing. He just does nothing.
It turns all gray.
He just turns gray and does nothing.
You know, the Hulk was
He goes into inaction.
the Hulk was originally gray. Did you know that?
Yes.
And so this incredible Sulk, when he turns gray and just like he sits around and eats ice cream and he wears his hoodie.
Gets upset.
Gets upset.
So what I really liked about this game that set it apart from other ones for me is the two different phases of the game.
Yes.
Because the first phase of the game, where we were learning it, I was like, Biblios was a bidding game. When are we going to get to the bidding? And then we got to the second phase, like, oh, here's the bidding. And the number dice that you're rolling, whatever they're called. Like, I was like, oh, I see the importance of them now, because I didn't really roll them up very high. I was just adding them up as you went along. But of all the roll and writes that we've played, and you have, okay, what about your differentiation between this and Welcome To?
Okay, so this kind of started this thing of me ranting about Welcome To. I have often held up Welcome To as being my favorite roll and write with an asterisk, because I don't feel like it is a roll and write. I know I'm being very picky about this, but I do not like it when we label games something, and it's not just the exception. It's like there's no dice in Welcome To.
Or cartographers.
So there's a lot of stuff like that irritates me, but I lop Welcome To. So I'm going to do. But
they're thrown in the same category as roll and writes.
Right. So since that is the case, I'm going to throw them all in here. I was not a big fan of cartographers. Welcome To has always kind of held the position of being my favorite roll and write. Biblios Quill and Parchment has usurped it. I think that if you are a fan of roll and writes, obviously, please give this a look. If you like games like cartographers, I think you're really going to like this. If you are one of those diehard Biblios fans, I think I think give this a look as well. But in terms of ranking them, the original Biblios to me is teetering on being a classic. Like I feel.
Was it 20 plus years old?
Well, it's getting there. It's getting. When was it released? I think it's 2015, maybe 14.
Oh, 5 years old.
Yeah, it's getting there. But yeah, Biblios is one of those games that I wish it was more readily available.
Ridley Scott.
So if you have the ability to pick up the original Biblios, by all means, it is a fantastic.
Is it in print?
Like I said, I don't know.
Biblios 2007.
Oh, so yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there.
There's a Biblios dice.
Yeah, I had not played Biblios dice. I don't.
Weird.
I saw that when I was doing some research on this game. I don't know. I've not heard the same praise about it. But I will say this. Biblios, this iteration, the roll and write, this is a great game. It has great components. I like the artwork on it. Yeah, it's good.
Took us about 30 minutes.
Maybe that.
3-player?
Yeah, 30 minutes, 3 players. That's pretty good.
I thoroughly enjoyed this game.
I did not open this at all, look at it until I got here, opened up the rule book, it gave everybody their parts, just started reading from it, and we understood it. There's also side B of the board that adds some different mechanics to it and changes the game up a little bit, so there is some replayability.
Variety. You know what? Replayability is one of those things that to me irritates me when people talk about that, because nobody plays their games low. I mean, Cult of the New especially is the environment that most board gamers are in. It's like hardly anybody plays their games over and over enough to even warrant replayability.
Well, here's the thing. That's one reason why I think legacy games have gotten so big. But two, I think that there is a large subsect of board gamers that do play their games multiple times, and they have a small collection. Like if you were restricted to say, okay, you're just going to have 10 games in your collection.
Ooh, that'd be tough.
One in and one out.
Oh, that would be tough.
So like every time you got something, you had to get rid of something. You would really distill down. And like there are many games here, like we like to have a variety, obviously. But I think at some point in time, you get to the point of like, really, do you need hundreds of games?
No, by no means. My wife has recently, well, not recently, she watched this show on Netflix, a documentary about minimalism. It's all about these guys talking about the benefits of minimalizing the stuff in your life. And they refer to stuff. And basically how ultimately unimportant it is when you die, none of it means anything. And this was something, I thought about this, especially with board gaming. Board gaming is one of those hobbies that people just dive into, and people, it does seem to pander towards those with money. I mean, obviously, because you have Kickstarters and stuff. Like all the Kickstarters now are $100. So it's easy to get into board gaming when you have money. And when you really get into it, well, you just want to keep buying board games. You got to have money to buy board games. So you just have this, you build this collection. And in this room here, I probably have 80 games. I'd say 80 just right off the top of my head. I have a Cal-X that Jerry bought. Half of these games are his. And if you were to tell me to narrow down, if I was, and she's like, she talked about my room. She's like, wanting to do a garage sale. She's culling a bunch of her personal things and, you know, dishes and plates and towels and stuff in the house. She's like, what about your room? And I was like, well, I mean, those games in there, half of those are Jerry's. And I kind of forget which ones are Jerry's, which ones are mine because they've been in here for so long. But if we were to honestly assess our game collection, the ones we have played within the past year, because, hey, having a podcast, the pressure is to play the new hotness.
Right. And that's really where we fall down on, is that there are many games that we own and play and have purchased that we would not purchase if it wasn't for the podcast. And I like that in a lot of ways, because there are games, and we will talk about one on next podcast, Merv, or whenever we talk about it, that generally I would not have bought and would not have purchased and discovered. And I find these games, and they're like, they wreck my way of thinking. They're like, I would not like this game. And then they end up enjoying it thoroughly and then wanting to keep it, and it falls into that category. So you cannot judge your collection based on how many times you play a game and how recently you have played it. Because quite honestly, if you were to tell me, look, you can keep 10 games, I can tell you. I mean, I can rattle them off and go, yeah, I can probably pull out the 10 games. Now, they're not probably going to be my top 10 games, because I'm going to want a variety. When you just have 10 games that you have to keep, I'm going to have one that's my premier bidding game. I'm going to have my one that's my premier area control, my premier Euro, that type thing. And as to address your wife's newfound minimalism, I do feel that balance and moderation in everything is important, because you do run the risk of having a lot of, you water down experiences. You never get to quite appreciate something when you don't experience it over again and really delve down to see the nuances of it.
I mean, like, I have games there are games in here. Okay, I've had Archipelago on the shelf for probably 3 years.
Right.
Never played it.
Right. And the reason is because you purchased it off of a review, and you really didn't want it in the first place. Like, I have found that when a game comes in that is just, you know, I've got this game because of the podcast. I'm interested in looking at it, but I don't have the thrill to play it. But when I buy a game that I want to play this game badly, like this is a game that I'm excited about, it doesn't sit on my shelf. Like, it's something that we are going to play at the next opportunity.
Right.
And so that's where you fall into this trap of just buying things for the podcast. Now, to answer the counter argument against minimalism. So, denying yourself something is one thing. But truly, if this is something you enjoy and you enjoy the variety of it, why not? Well,
for me, it comes down to time and money. Really time spent to acquire it versus time able to play it or just enjoy things. So it's like, well, then you're going to get into the whole minimalism thing, which I don't want to do. Just watch the documentaries on Netflix. But their whole thing is like, okay, if you accumulate all this stuff, most people go into debt to accumulate stuff.
Right.
So then you're working extra to pay for that stuff, and then you don't have time to enjoy the stuff.
Right. So, no, that's not my point. My point is, and I agree with that, my point is, you have this stuff now. Why get rid of it instead of just stop buying more of it?
Which I have not agreed with myself. Agreed with myself.
I'll agree with
I've agreed with myself. I'm not planning on buying anything new.
Right. And so the thing that has happened with you that I have noticed is that since you have stopped buying, you have stopped playing.
Really?
Yes, like used to.
I played some solo stuff.
I know, but here's the thing. You used to constantly, I'm looking at this, I'm looking at that, and I'm going on like you've got games we have not got to play from 3 shipments ago, and you keep buying and you keep buying, and you were always harassing to play again. We got to play this, we got to play this, got to play this. Since you have slowed your purchasing habits down, you will notice that your overall board game playing has dropped, and your solo playing though has come up. Like you have decided to start learning solos of games that are much harder, that generally you would not do. And I think that is a sign of being able to appreciate a game even more, is just being content with what you have and going back and reliving and playing other games that you've had on yourself for a long time. Archipelago has now just become a classic to me in our collection because it is our longest standing
non-played game.
I have learned this game twice.
Forgot it since then.
Yes, I've taken it home, learned it, brought it to Gobby and said, let's play it. I've done this twice now. And it's gotten to the point to where it's almost like I don't want to play it. And
you're going to break the seal.
I want to at least leave it there and never play it. Not get rid of it. Just never play it. And then one day something occur and it'd be like, yeah, okay, let's get it out and just see.
Okay, you hit on a point that I think I said this many, many podcasts ago, maybe when we first started. One of the reasons I always liked having games on my shelf is I always like to have something to look forward to.
Right.
And I think that is nice, but it also can create issues because it's like, okay, hey, you have to realize, I think I would guarantee, and I did it myself, people go into debt for board games.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
That I don't understand.
It's stupid.
Because
I went into there was a period there where my wife unleashed me with my own checking account, and I was just like, all right, yeah, and I just went crazy.
I know, I was there.
And it was foolish.
I was there.
Foolish.
I was telling you it was foolish at the time.
And so it took us a while. We stopped. We rejoined accounts, and she's like, all right, we paid that crap off. All right, no, I am not to be trusted on my own with money because I will just blow crap on stupid games that I couldn't even tell you what I bought. I couldn't even tell you what I bought during that period.
I know, you bought the same thing twice. I know. I was there during this whirlwind.
And I'm looking at the shelves now. The Thing, we have never played The Thing together.
No, and I was thinking about that the other day, and it's one that I desperately want to play.
We have never played, we have Archipelago. We've played, I can look at the shelf and tell the games that we've played once, and we've had them for a long time. There's a few games over there that you have played that we have not played, so I'm not worried about those because you bought those, and like Trajan, Bruxelles. But I have games on my shelf that I have played one time, 2 times,
so what you're saying,
or no times.
So what you're saying is you have stuff to look forward to.
I do have stuff to look for. I've had Endeavor on my shelf. I bought that game. You took it home, learned it, played it. You're like, meh.
You're talking about Endangered.
Endangered, yeah.
And it is meh.
But I haven't played it. I set it up, but I never did finish it. Pan Am, we played that once. But anyway, we're getting off topic. But it's just, I have resolved to myself, I'm buying less to zero games because I want to replay the games that we have. Which, if you have a podcast, probably not great for. Although there's a podcast that I forget, there's a podcast that entirely does Twilight Imperium 4, and they have a tremendous amount of listeners and followers and downloads.
If you go to Cool Stuff and just see that front page of all those faces of people who just talk about Magic the Gathering, that right there just kills me. That there is one topic. Now, who's the dude that is on Instagram that does nothing but talk about Smash Up?
Smash Up guy.
That's literally his thing.
I think that's
Smash
his name.
Up. Okay,
he just talks about Smash Up.
All he does is talk about Smash Up.
And I was thinking that that's interesting because I could never just focus on one game because okay. For example, after we played Biblios, Jerry and Enrique were like, we could play this again, and I am that guy. I'm like, we just played it. I'm kind of ready to go on something different.
I know, but I don't know why you're like that, though. That'd be interesting
I don't
to understand.
know. I like to... there's and we've said this before, there's very few games that I want to... If there's a game I can play 2 times in a row, that's a game I will immediately just I'm like, okay, we're keeping this.
Oh, yeah. But that's something that I kind of tune into as well, as when we were playing a game and this interesting aspect of it comes up and we're talking about it and it's like we need to play this again right now. And I like playing a game over and over and over. Like
that makes it easy when you got it set up on the table too.
Yeah, I enjoy having kind of breaking down, playing a game once and then going back through it immediately and trying something else or refining something. It really shows and also breaks the game down. You can find out that the game that you think is rather balanced is not, and vice versa. But no, I think that obviously one of the reasons we started this podcast was to get people to shy away from being in that zone of just buying up everything and chasing the hotness. And I've fallen down that same path as well, looking at stuff and going, well, I think I'll try this out and try different areas of the board gaming community till I realize, I'm not going to be a miniatures gamer. Like I'm never going to play Warhammer. I'm not interested in that type. There are some games like that I might, but you have to kind of suss out and see what area that you truly enjoy and kind of lean into it. And really just don't waste your time on spending money on every single game that comes out. Redefine what it is that you like to play and stick to it. And only occasionally venture outside of that. And I think there are some rather interesting avenues to do that in, such as with board gaming conventions. That's really where we find some of our greatest games ever, is going to conventions and trying things that we normally would not have tried.
Yeah, I wish there was a rent-a-site. And I know they've tried those before and they don't work out because board gaming is especially difficult with all the little pieces. But
shipping.
Just try a game before you buy it. But the only place to do that really is at conventions, and that's why we like conventions so much. Right.
Anyways, back to Biblios Quill and Parchment. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's one of those games that if you like those rolling rights, if you're in that cult and you like doing this whole working on your little player board and running things up, Biblios is actually Quill and Parchment, a great game. I highly suggest the original Biblios if you're able to get your hands on it as well. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And I think this is one that I'm going to keep in my collection. I think I'm going to get my wife to play this with me and see what she thinks about it. It is a 1 to 4 player. The 2-player...
Oh, it does have a solo?
Yes, it does have a solo, which I've not tried.
It's interesting with bidding games always for me.
The 2-player does have like some sort of weird adjustment you got to make, but yeah, this is one of those. This is a good one. I like it.
Enrique, Biblios.
Loved it.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
A 9.
No,
he gives everything
it's
a
not
9. He gives everything a 9.
No.
I give everything a 9.
It's a 9.
It's not
a 9. 9? It's a 0.
I'm done with talking to you about anything.
0 to 10 for me. I'll give it a. You know what? We discussed this on Discord Nerd. 7's like that easy zone. It's 7 is like it's not up here.
It wouldn't be a.
It's not terrible. It's not medium.
It's an 8 at least.
No, it's a 7.
I'd say it's a 6. Like, I enjoy it. Like, and I that's high praise for me because I do not like Biblios writing games. I don't like writing games.
You claim to hate everything, then when you give something else as high praise, I see your angle.
No,
there.
I just have.
Where are you going there? What do you give welcome to?
It's tied up there. This one's just barely above it. They're both 6s for me, but this one's
5.9.
This one's just a nudge above it.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, we're going to discuss... Wait. Oh, crap. There was something else we were going to discuss with Biblios.
I can't think of it. We're not going to do Merv till next week. Merv.
There was something else. It was another small... Oh, Star Cartel.
I will get it next time.
No, Star Cartel.
Star Cartel's with Osprey Games. We'll do it next time. We'll do it live.
All right, fine.
Don't pressure me.
I'm Gabi.
This is Enrique.
This is Jim.
Thank you for listening to the Board Game Snobs. Stay classy.